Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Markets to Watch from Smack the Markets for week commencing the 6th of August. Now last week was quite a challenging week. We had a major news announcement every single day last week, and that created a lot of volatility in the markets, a lot of quick movements within price, which was generally in the opposite direction to the general trends that were structured into those markets, and then with very little follow through after that initial momentum move. So it made it a very untechnical market to trade in many of the markets that we focus on. This week, however, we've got quite a different sort of story. So this week there's much clearer direction, much clearer sort of momentum, and we can start to use technical techniques here to identify opportunities to trade in the markets. Now, a couple of markets that I want to take a look at here. Before we take a look at cable, let's have a look at CAD Swiss. Now, CAD Swiss was one that we were looking at last week. If we take a look here on the weekly chart, we were looking for the market to break this sort of 76.21 area. There was sort of resistance above price action there. We were looking for that to be broken out, and we were looking for the market to move up towards sort of 77. Took a little bit of time for that to occur last week, but now at the end of the week, it's eventually sort of broken out, and now we're starting to get that move up there. If I come out to, and we take a look at the daily chart, and we see this a little bit more clearer. So our 76 sort of 120 area here was quite a well-defined level that sort of goes back quite some time. We've got our 77 area up here, 77 level, that's the round number. It's just underneath the 77 sort of 20 area that we sort of looked at there on the higher time frames. So this here is the distance, it's the window in price action that we're looking at trading. There were opportunities to be able to capture in here. We're still looking for this market to move up to 77. We look at that's the sort of profit area for this price action. Above 77, of course, we start to get into more sort of support structures, resistance structures that we'd want the price to be able, and the market to be able to get through that before we start to look at other opportunities. Let's come and have a look at cable now. Now, cable's getting hit from both sides at the moment. So we're in an environment where we've got a strengthening US dollar. That's fueling the weakness here in Great British Pound. And of course, we've had quite a bit of negative news, Brexit related news on over the weekend involving sort of sterling. And that's having a negative impact here on the price of it. So the thing that I like about this one here is the fact that 130, this key 130 level, has now been taken out. So last week, the market tried to rally higher. It didn't manage to make any sort of traction. It sort of closed very close to the bottom. It actually closed virtually on 130, and now the market's just sort of rolled over and broken through that. So we've got a clear break of this level. And if we can take a look at this on the weekly chart and start to see, well, where could the market go to? Where's the next sort of decision point in price action? We can see that it's around actually 128. I sort of mark in sort of 128 just around here. We can see that there's previous support and resistance, been tested multiple times, big round number, multiple tests. Looks clear that that's the next sort of decision point here in cable. And if we look back over previous price action, every time the market sort of broken 130 or it's found support at 130, it's pretty much gone straight to 128. So these moves between 128 and 130, we see the market sort of pretty much gone there without, with very little resistance in the way. And at the moment, it's heading straight towards that 128 level. So we're looking for continued sort of short opportunities down towards 128 on cable. Now, let's come and have a look at a commodity for this week. Now, we've spoken about oil a number of times, and I've looked at sort of the metals. The metals are certainly sort of weak at the moment, and they're in downtrends, following again being supported by the strength in the US dollar at the moment. But those markets have sort of moved on, and those trends have moved on. So my preference here is to come and take a look at oil again. And the reason that I keep getting attracted back here to oil is if we look here on the weekly chart, the market's not overextended. It's right back into this area here where we've got moving averages. We're into the sort of value entry area. We're also back into a key level as well, around sort of 66.5, which has been previous support and resistance. So this sort of indicates to me from a weekly perspective, we've got potentially quite a decent move for the market. Now, whether it occurs this week or not is anybody's guess. It didn't occur last week, but the trend structure still stayed intact, and that's what keeps me attractive here to oil. So if we come down the time frames, I think the area really and the question is, well, where's the structure, and where could we start to get sort of positioned in here, and where are the best trading opportunities? So I come down to the sort of 4-hour time frame to look for those opportunities, and we can see that, our level here around 69.70, that's been a clear sort of area of previous support and resistance. We're fairly close to that now, so I'd be looking for opportunities above sort of 69.70. Up towards our sort of 70, 71 area up here, and then above that area back up towards sort of 74, which is the weekly high. So there's some decent sized windows there in price action for long opportunities once the market breaks those levels. Now, let's come and have a look at the indices, and again, the indices have had quite a bit of whipsawing over the past sort of week. But again, if we come to the mini Dow future here on the Dow Jones, we can see that even though there's been all sorts of talk of market crashes and bear markets from a number of market commentators, the market's still looking rather bullish. We've got a clean decision point as well, just above price action around this 25.5 level. So we can see that this level's been tested multiple times. We're still in the context of an uptrend, and all that sort of happened in the past sort of week or so is that the market hit resistance. It's rolled back over. It's now sort of had bullish news that's pushed the market back up again, and it's sitting right underneath that level. So for me, I'm looking at long opportunities above 25.50. This does look sort of continues to look sort of bullish to me. Above 25.50, I'll be looking for long opportunities with a possible sort of move up here towards sort of 26.5. So that's a very decent sort of potential move above price action. If this market fails to break through this area and rolls over and puts in a downtrend, then of course my view will change. But I don't see that there's sort of much evidence here for me to change my view until we get a change of trend here. Things still look rather sort of bullish for me here on the US indices. So that's a few markets that I'm keeping a close eye on here at the moment. I certainly hope it helps, and look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye for now.